Scarlett Johansson's 10 sexiest movie roles. To be honest, whenever Scarlett Johansson appears in a movie, it is difficult to keep our eyes from being fixated onto her. And for many years, the Scarlett Johansson sexiest scenes have been a topic of interest for the entire planet. Scarjo continues to dazzle at 34 years of age and could not be at a better point in her career, since in addition to having become the highest paid actress of 2018, she has the solo film of Black Widow on the doorstep, a character she has played since 2010. Scarlett Johansson, the most beautiful actress in the world, has enjoyed showcasing her talent in iconic movies. The beautiful and sexy actress Scarlett Johansson is considered one of the most beautiful women in the world, and it's not for nothing that publications like FHM, Esquire, and Playboy have considered her as the sexiest living woman in the world. She has everything: charisma, figure, beauty, and is a great actress. Johansson has in her history hot scenes that many have been drawn to and stimulated their imagination. From critically acclaimed gems like Lost in Translation and Vicky Cristina Barcelona to blockbusters in The Avengers and Ghost in the Shell, there are many of Scarlett Johansson's sexiest movies. Number 10. Ghost in the Shell. In a controversial casting, Scarlett played Makoto Kusanagi, a cyborg super soldier with an uncertain past in an adaptation of a classic Japanese manga. Motoko Kusanagi, also known as the Major, is a cyborg special agent who heads the Elite Section 9 Task Force. The purpose of this undercover operations unit within the National Security Commission is to fight cyberterrorism and technological crimes with an artificial body. Kusanagi has replaced the entirety of her brain, allowing her to be able to perform superhuman feats especially required by her work. Number 9. Iron Man 2. Tony Stark Robert Downey Jr. becomes the target of the United States government, which wants him to deliver his powerful suit to combat whiplash and government harassment. Stark has the support of his new assistant, Natasha Romanoff Scarlett Johansson, and Nick Fury Samuel L. Jackson, the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. Scarlett left her usual blonde look to be the sexy red-haired Black Widow in one of the best superhero franchises. Number 8. Under the Skin. A mysterious woman, Scarlett Johansson, wanders the streets of Scotland, dragging lonely and unsuspecting men to a fatal doom. A very crazy adaptation of Michelle Faber's novel directed by Jonathan Glazer. This movie is the first time that Scarlett Johansson poses with her statuesque figure without any clothing, definitely one of Scarlett Johansson's sexiest scenes. Number 7. A love song for Bobby Long. In the shoes of Purslane Hominy Will, the actress played a character completely antagonistic to the ideas of Bobby Long John Travolta, one of the alcoholic friends of the young woman's mother, who, when she passed away, had the space of the house left behind inhabited by the man and another colleague. The film, which won a big office box with the screening, also earned Scarlett a nomination for Best Actress at the Golden Globe Award. In this movie, there is a scene in which Percy, Scarlett Johansson, was almost totally caught naked while in the bathroom. Number 6. Her. Where's Scarlett Johansson? We hear you ask. She is there, on the earpiece, playing the operating system that Joaquin Phoenix falls in love with in this futuristic romantic comedy. You don't see Samantha, but you do hear her husky voice, and, whether you admit it or not, you fall in love with her a bit by the end, too. Number 5. Sofia Coppola's film is a cinematic gem, and from the beginning of the movie, we knew that we could not expect anything else. Bob Harris Bill Murray is a movie star who is in Tokyo to do a whiskey commercial. Scarlett Johansson, meanwhile, is in town accompanying her husband, a workaholic photographer Giovanni Ribisi, who leaves her alone all the time. Suffering from the schedule, Bob and Charlotte are unable to sleep. They meet, by chance, in the bar of a luxury hotel, and in a short time, they become great friends. Number 4. Vicky Cristina Barcelona. Two young American students, Vicky Rebecca Hall and Christina Scarlett Johansson, are invited by one Antonio Javier Bardem, a Spanish painter, to spend a weekend of sex and tourism in the city of Oviedo, Spain. During the events, Vicky and Cristina fall in love with him, causing conflicts between them. The scenes of Cristina and Juan Antonio already in privacy are the best of the movie, and for many, more than the story. Because it is simply Scarlett Johansson, because you don't want her to stop being on screen. Hence the reason for this listing. Number 3. He's just not that into you. Scarlett plays Anna Marks, who meets Ben Gunder's Bradley Cooper in the supermarket. Ben is married to Janine Jennifer Connelly and cheats on her with Anna. Maybe the movie's story doesn't revolve around them, however. The scenes performed by Anna and Ben are as good as they are hot. Number 2. Match Point. It is considered one of the best films in 20 years by the writer and director Woody Allen. Scarlett Johansson plays Nola Rice. The story introduces us to Chris Wilton Jonathan Rhys-Meyers, a young retired professional tennis player. Chris meets Tom Hewitt Matthew Good, with whom he is good friends. Tom introduces Chris to the wealthiest families in London, and Chris meets Tom's sister, Chloe Hewitt Emily Mortimer, and he marries her. However, he meets Nola Rice, with whom he begins an affair, showing us the not-so-well-known facet of a very young Scarlett Johansson at the time. Nola gets pregnant and rejects the idea of Chris wanting to abort, who ends up killing her and having a child with Chloe to protect his interests. The viewer enjoys watching Nola Rice in every scene, not wanting the film to end because of her presence alone. Match Point earned Oscar nominations. Number 1. Don Jon. Joseph Gordon-Levitt is the protagonist of the story, and at the same time he was the one who wrote, directed, and also chose the casting, which is important to mention if not for the plotline. Gordon-Levitt stars as John Martello, who his friends call Don Jon for his ability to seduce women every weekend. Yet none of his women satisfy him as much as watching adult content on his computer. In a nightclub, Don Jon meets Barbara Sugarman, Scarlett Johansson, whom with work he manages to seduce, thinking that it would be his greatest conquest. But he immediately discovers that he does not have enough to have a woman like her. Many scenes are very hot indeed, and the kisses from the movie were nominated for Best Kiss at the MTV Movie Award for Best Kiss.